Marnie, thank you. That was beautiful. And when you were talking about the phrases describing this evening's session, I thought, oh, who wrote that? Firstly, before we go any further, I just want to invite you all, most of you, I have all the screens in front of me open. Let's just give each other from our kind eyes right now and a feeling of community and Sangha between us, that the Zoom cannot stop it. The Zoom cannot stop love. The Buddha said that. Love is stronger than Zoom. So anyway, just radiate kindness right now to each other and feel we are together and present. And we're in each other's mind and heart. So the theme of welcoming the beyond can feel a little bit beyond, and especially where I come from right now, where I'm living right now, we're in the midst of huge violence. We're actually there's a war going on, conflict, and incredible reactivity. When it broke out on Saturday morning, actually, I couldn't believe what was happening. I listened to the BBC and my God. And then 2 days, I was quiet. I couldn't talk to anybody. My wife and I were in the north. We're living in the north near the Lebanon. I couldn't teach. I just said to people, sorry, I'm out for 2 days. And I just had to have that quietness to let the heart expand and flow, and compassion to kind of generate compassion. I just needed that quietness. My heart felt very, very heavy. It seems when we're talking about conflict and violence, it seems very far away from the subject of tonight. Actually, it's not so far, because the Dharma is one. And the Dharma is a vast teaching, but we can take it in different ways according to what's needed. So I just want to share with you a little bit how the Dharma community in Israel, including myself, have responded to what's going on here. And before I go into the more refined teachings that I wanted to bring, I still want to bring them because they're beautiful, and to me it's really inspiring and even helpful in times of crisis. But I can't dive into them without relating to what's really going on right now. The planes, as I speak, are kind of going all over my head. The Dharma community in Israel is very big in relation to the population, and also of young age. There's many, many young people, even soldiers, and really thousands of young people have been taking retreats and classes, and it's very popular. My main book here, What's Beyond Mindfulness, has sold equivalent number of copies to be 1 million copies in America. So it's a very strong Dharma community. And what the Dharma community has been doing is, from the very beginning, going out and bringing help on all levels to people in need at this time, in time of conflict. Really, really active. They've been going to the communities that have been attacked. They've been going to bring mindfulness and sessions and kindness and help and psychological assistance to people who are refugees from the borders of Gaza. And so one thing that I would like to share with you, because this is our crisis now, here, in a very critical and acute way, But the whole planet is in crisis, and the crisis is affecting us really now, but the crisis is affecting you as well. In where you live, things are not stable, and we are all, I think, on the edge of a kind of chronic state of crisis right now. So one of the first places that I want to mention is, to me, one of the most beautiful quotes of the Buddha just before he died, when he said, "Be an island to yourself." And what he said, how to do that, is exactly what the Dharma community have been doing all over Israel, helping groups that are under stress and under a fear and panic and trauma. And the Buddha said, to be an island to yourself, that means be steady in the stormy seas. Connect with your deeper truth, which will connect you to life, which is a bigger place than all the stories in the mind. Connect with the body. The body is alive. Connect with the breathing. Connect with walking. Connect with the senses. Connect with your heart, which is with others. And this is, to me, a primary teaching, to be an island to ourselves in times of fear and reactivity. And we do that by connecting to our deeper truth. At the same time, I would say the Dharma community are helping people to understand some externals, such as being overwhelmed, what we do when we're overwhelmed, quietening a little bit the overload of information and of panic, giving a lot of kindness and help and community where it's needed, and bringing compassion. One of the things that is important that we are really very aware of is when mindfulness doesn't work, meaning the situation is so overwhelming that we just can't be mindful of the breathing. It's too much. And it's okay to feel that, because we're sensitive human beings, and it can happen that we're so overwhelmed that we can't just connect with our deeper truth. And at those times, compassion is the default. And compassion brings us to a place out of the ordinary mind. Here is already welcoming the beyond. Compassion, the compassionate heart, is beyond the world of worry, reactivity, and anger, which is very around me. And compassion pulls us out of the me, because our heart is kind of pulled out to us, to others, to people close to us, and gradually to people who are not so close to us. And we begin to cry not only for our close people, but for those that are not so close. And we are not afraid to suggest this even to people who are on crisis. For example, on the Israeli side, we also cry for those on the side of the Palestinians in Gaza. And where that message can get through, the Dharma people are giving that message, that their compassion is active. It's an energy, and it's calling us, but it's calling us to a bigger place. And one other point that is very important, and the Dharma is helping people a lot. And here is really where it goes into the beyond. At the present time, I'll give you an example. The other day I was in the local town, and I spoke to a woman there on the street, and she said, we have to destroy Gaza. We have to wipe it out. And the country is full of that language. We have to wipe them out. We have to wipe them out. And I asked her, so what seeds does that sow? And this is the fourth time that Gaza has been invaded, and there has been a war with Gaza, and rockets have been falling on Tel Aviv. The fourth time. And every time the same thing happens. We have to wipe them out. We have to destroy them. Where does it go? It just creates seeds for the next one. So I asked this woman, where does this go, this view? What fruit, what seeds are you sowing by this view? And what fruit will come out of it? And so the big picture of causes and conditions, which is so important and so classic in the Dharma, is so fundamental. Paticca Samuppada, dependent arising, is perhaps the most kind of basic Dharma understanding. And it tells us, look at the big picture. What seeds are you sowing? And the fruit that you're picking from it. And the big picture, the beyond, does tell us that violence has been there and samsara has been there since the beginning of time. And that all of us can be at times angels and demons because of paticca samuppada, because of dependent origination. We are really, in a way, empty. And because we're empty, we can be anything. We can be violent, we can be peace, we can be a Buddha. Because we're empty. We can be a Buddha and we can be a devil. And there's something in the dynamic nature of reality that the Dharma takes us. So, of course, I can't talk with that language to people in the street in my local town, but certainly can ask questions of where this is going. And the violence is clearly because of things that were not done, paths that were not taken. And again, they're not being taken. The reactivity is just immediate attack. Violence brings more violence. As Mahatma Gandhi said, an eye for an eye will make the whole world blind. It's a beautiful quote. So I do want to go with you're welcome to ask questions about it later on, but I do want to go to the theme of today because it's so inspiring, and I will mention how it really helps in times of crisis as well. I use the word, by the way, I'm going to give this talk, and at the end of the talk, we'll do the meditation. I wanted to start with the talk and then meditation and then questions, because the meditation is inspired by the themes I'm going to bring in this talk. Why did I use the word beyond? I really like the word because of the Heart Sutta. Gate, gate, paragate. Beyond the beyond, beyond the beyond the beyond. And what it means is beyond the ordinary mind, which is busy with form and with belief in reality. This is this and this is that. The ordinary dualistic mind. And the Heart Sutta says, go beyond the ordinary dualistic regular mind that says this is this and this is that and this is good and I need this and I don't need that and I want this and this is, the usual mind. And why is it beyond? Is the Heart Sutta beyond? Because in a beautiful way, it says that the aggregates, namely the elements of our experience, what our experience is made of, is empty, but is something. It's not nothing. And this dialogue in the Heart Sutta, it says, form is empty, nothing other than emptiness, and emptiness is nothing other than form. It's not nothingness. What's beyond the ordinary mind is something, a dialogue between form and the formless. It's a dialogue between, it's a discourse. And if we look carefully at our experience, it's a discourse between form and formless. So I want to go into that a bit, and I think beyond is a good way to describe it, because unless you kind of really touch it, you won't. It is beyond the regular everyday mind that basically believes in its own constructions. The mind constructs the world. This is a tree. This is a hand. This is a Stephen. This is a Marnie I'm looking at. And these are that's what the mind says, and then totally believes that to be reality. But it's not the total reality. The reality isn't that. That's clothing. That's the clothing. And the Tibetan image, the constructions of the mind are called decorations. They're foam on the waves. They're decorations over reality. It's actually in the Kabbalah. I'm quite touching a little bit in the relationship between Kabbalah, the Jewish mystical teaching, and the Dharma. And it's really interesting that in the Jewish mystical teaching, and that's the authentic, deeper teaching coming from the Kabbalah, also says all this world is decoration, decorating the formless. So I want to kind of go a bit deeper into how we are going to explore this issue. How can we, you and I, explore this issue? How can we look at the beyond, touch it, without 50 years in a monastery or sitting in a cave, right where you are in Colorado or North Israel? So there's a few directions that I think are very much inside the Dharma. And I really, by the way, the Buddha was a fantastic non-dual teacher. You don't need there's also fantastic non-dual Advaita teachers like Nisargadatta Maharaj or Ramana Maharshi that many of you know of, Krishnamurti's old teacher that I used to enjoy. So non-duality, or Dzogchen, Mahamudra in the Tibetan tradition. But the Buddha himself was an amazing non-dual teacher. And that there's so much non-duality in the Buddhist, even in the early Buddhist texts and sutras, and I'll mention this as we go along. So one basic place to begin to explore the beyond is simply to question what we call reality. And in the early sutras, there's a very nice image. A magician comes to a crossroads in India and begins to do all kinds of magical tricks. And around him is a great crowd of Indians that are watching and going, "Ooh, amazing, wow, this is incredible." And then a boy goes round the back and begins to see how he's making all those tricks. And he begins to understand where these tricks come from. And then he sees it's all tricks. It's all a show. Very much like the Hans Andersen story of the boy that sees that the emperor has no clothes. And the whole of the society says he's got clothes. Yes, yes, yes. The consensus is the ordinary mind. Yes, yes, he's got clothes. And the boy, which is our questioning mind, our innocent mind, if you like, is able to say, no, wait a minute. You're all stuck in a consensus. The emperor is naked. So question is important. And mindfulness can bring us questioning. It's not just a technique to calm us down. It's to open us up. I was watching a beautiful film the other day, of a Zen hermitage in Korea. And it's really interesting. This Zen hermitage, there were maybe 20 monks there. They didn't meditate. They cut wood, they grew plants, they cooked, they cleaned, they were busy all day. And they didn't meditate, almost not at all. But their practice was to hold a koan or a question or a primary question that undoes the ordinary mind. It takes the ordinary mind to pieces. And their practice was to hold this question, the koan, at the back of the mind as they cut the vegetables and as they farmed in the fields and as they walked with the cows. It's a very powerful place that we don't need to go to Zen monastery for this. We ourselves can question what it is that we think we know, and we can allow not knowing. We can welcome not knowing. We don't have to have all the information. I'm working a lot with scientists on work on meditation, and we published quite a bunch of papers on this. And I understand from them that consciousness is now understood. One of the models of consciousness is that it's there for what's called predictive processing, meaning it's trying to predict what will happen in the world in order for us to be safe. So not knowing is rather threatening, but we really need to go there in order to kind of undo the prison of constructions in the mind that say, this is the world and I'm in it, and the filter, that there's constant filtering. This is it, this is it, this is what I need, and this is the problem, and this is the solution, and this. In the Sutta Nipata, the Buddha was asked one time by somebody, how do you recognize an enlightened person? And the Buddha answered, you recognize them because you can't find them. And the person said, well, that's really confused. This is exactly the text. The person who asked said, I'm confused. And the Buddha said, yes, I know you're confused. It's not so easy to understand, but I can tell you this, that an enlightened person has gone beyond the ordinary mind. The ordinary mind is the mind of description and language. And an enlightened mind, enlightened person has gone beyond the descriptions and therefore cannot be described or cannot be defined. And it's a very beautiful text in my mind that gives us an indication. And I have to be a little bit challenging here. I'm an elder, so I'm allowed to upset the norms. I think mindfulness needs to be retranslated from the Pali language sati, and I think we should go for mindlessness, not mindfulness. I'm joking, of course. We need mindfulness, but also mindlessness. We need to kind of challenge the mind. We need to see the way the mind is, things are passing by. And we need to question the reality that appears to be. The Buddha was, as a non-dual teacher, said, there is no sun, there is no moon, there is no night, there is no day, there is no big, there is no small. It's all our constructions. So that's the first place. I want to encourage all of you to ask good questions and see your meditation as a place of asking questions. What is really happening now? A second place, if you like, of development of the beyond is going back to our sources. What is the hidden voices of our being? What's underneath all the constructions that we're making? What's the aliveness? What's the I amness in the Advaita language? A lot of use of this language, I amness, but it's also in the Bible. When God was asked, tell me your name, he said, I am that I am. I amness. God said the same thing in the Bible as the non-dual teachers. I amness. There's something there that is underneath content and thought and explanation and description. As you know, the Buddha called himself Tathagata. And Tathagata is really gone. It's also beyond, in a way, gone or come from tat, which is just like the English word that. So come from that, or gone to that. And it's very similar to the word, to the description that God in the Bible, the at least, theological of I am that. But for us, it's a very important and not so difficult to kind of connect with our source. So how do we do this? One place is to connect with the sense of just being there, before or under thought or perception. In the Tibetan tradition, they use the image of the mother and the child. Our awareness, our basic awareness, our sense of being alive, our sense of being aware of being, which is there all the time. Experiences come and go, but under them is the mother, which is the ground. And the mother gives birth to thought, gives birth to form. So the awareness, the consciousness, the source gives rise to forms. And we ourselves can watch that happening. We can watch our awareness, just basic being aware, being there, knowing, you can call it, giving rise to a thought. I very much, what I'd like to practice together with us, all of you, is a little bit practice the formless, the boundaryless, and the spaciousness. And if we kind of get a sense of spaciousness, then thoughts that arise are not a problem. They're forms coming out of consciousness. And this really changes our practice, because instead of seeing thought as a problem and disturbing, we see them as children of the mother consciousness. We see them as playfulness. The thoughts are playing. The awareness gives birth to an idea. So a thought comes called, what am I going to do tomorrow? And we feel, yes, my awareness has given rise to a thought called, what do I need to do tomorrow? My to-do list. It's playfulness of the mind. The to-do list doesn't need to disturb us. We can see it as just the music of the mind. So it really changes something in our relationship to our practice. We're not like trying to shut down things and be very concentrated, and then the thought is coming and disturbing us, and then we have to go back and it's a struggle. And instead of that, we allow thought as being kind of the music of awareness, and stay aware and welcoming what arises. The non-dual Buddha talked quite a lot about places of non-duality. One of the areas that he talked about is non-duality through the senses. And some of you may know the Bahia Sutta, which is just saying, in the seeing, there's just seeing. There isn't a duality of an experience that has two sides, me and the object. Me and the object are constructions. Just seeing is just seeing. I have a story about this. We used to do retreats for families. No, we still actually do that. I don't teach them anymore. And a few times I've done an exercise with all the children, and many children in the meditation hall. And I've rang a bell and then asked the children, where do you hear the bell? And it's amazing to listen to the answers, because every single child heard the bell in a different place. One would say, it's there in the bowl. Another would say, it's in my body. Another would say, it's in the air. Another would say, in my eyes. Another would say, it's in my ears. Another would say, it's gone outside. Another would say, it's between all of us. Another would say, it's everywhere. Every child would see it in a different place. In other words, there really isn't a fixed view. If there's a sound, it has two sides, me and the object. The Kaccayanagotta Sutta is a sutta which is quite interesting, because it says that non-duality is right there as a way of understanding the first of the Eightfold Path, right view. Right view is the first of the Eightfold Path. What's the view? What's right view? I don't like the word right, because it's sama in the Pali is really the fulfillment or the development or whatever of the view. But where is the view going? And in the sutta it says that we usually, in between existence and non-existence, we're all the time wanting one or the other, existence or non-existence. Or when we want something, we want something that isn't. And when we don't want something, we have something that we don't want. We're in the middle of this and that. We want or we don't want. Existing, non-existing. This we there, this that, this. And this sutta says when something appears, it doesn't occur to us that it shouldn't be there or that it isn't there. And when something isn't there, it doesn't occur to us that it should be there. So in other words, we're totally not in a dualistic place. What arises is what arises. That's it. What doesn't arise, doesn't arise. That's it. Then there is and I have to finish now because I want time for meditation and questions, so I'm going to finish in just a moment. There's a lot of guidance in meditation, guidance also in the text and the tradition that I really like, that invites a kind of non-dual attitude to our meditations. For example, the Buddha said, let your meditation be like the earth, because the earth is so big it can absorb everything. So maybe not today, with throwing too much stuff on the earth, but you can understand in the Buddha's time anyway. But he said the earth is so big that it can accept whatever we throw on it. And let your meditation be like that, or meditation be like the sky, because the sky is not disturbed by the clouds. And let your meditation be like the air, because the air is vast and going up into space and is not disturbed by anything. So it's kind of, there's plenty of encouragement in the teaching to go to these places which are more spacious, which are more endless, which are less dualistic, of me and an experience. The Buddha was once asked, no, he asked someone else, he said, you see the window here? So there's light coming through the window, right? And the student said, yes. Where does the light fall on? What does it light up? Well, it lights up the wall on the other side. And if there's no wall, what does the light light up? And the student said, well, probably outside there's going to be some grass or something. And the Buddha said, and if there's no grass, and if there's nowhere outside that it lands, where will it go? And the person was stumped by that. And the Buddha had to answer. And the Buddha said, it is released. If the light doesn't fall anywhere, it is released. And he said, if consciousness doesn't land anywhere on an object, doesn't kind of get stuck on an object, consciousness is released and it becomes infinite, becomes limitless. So it's I think I'll finish with that. Easy place to kind of catch this is if you really drop into the now, really drop into this moment, it invites us to non-duality, to the beyond place, because it doesn't have a timeline, it doesn't have this should be, it doesn't have predictive processing, which I was talking about, that it should, I want this to happen, or I want this perception to be. It is just totally what it is. And we need to surrender into this moment. It's like surrendering into the earth or into the sky or into the surrendering into somewhere bigger. It does need us to kind of really let go into the now, and then we'll find ourselves there. Okay, so with that, I'd like to guide a meditation now, and then we'll have it, and then we'll open it up for some questions and responses. Okay, so I suggest all of us just relax ourselves. We can take one breath and let it out. And kind of just settle down. And as we settle down, find ourselves settling down into presence. We don't look for a presence. We drop into it. And it's really helpful again and again to get a sense that when we land into the fullness of this moment, we have come home. And it's a pleasant and a natural place to be. It's our real nature. The word sati, mindfulness, means remembering. It means we already are there. We already know this place. We just need to remember. Feeling at home, feeling coming to where we belong and where we are, this life. And in the present moment, of course, the senses are telling us about experience, and we allow that. There may be sounds. We may feel ourselves pressing down on the chair. We know the touch of the hands. We can feel the tummy rising and falling as we breathe. And I suggest that we start practice without immediately homing in on one element of our experience, but a general sense of this is what it is to be alive right now. A kind of more open, holistic sense of awareness. And then we might like, indeed, to focus on one aspect of all our experience that can help us collect our attention and sustain the sense of being, of presence. For many of us, it can be the breath, the breathing. For others, it may be something else. And we can go beyond, at this point, the usual dualistic sense of me knowing or experiencing a breath, an in-breath or an out-breath. You can get a sense that there's just awareness, and the breathing is happening in awareness. The knowing is the main thing that's happening right now. And the knowing includes everything. It includes the me, it includes the breath coming in, it includes the movement of the muscles or of the chest, of the tummy. It includes the sense that the world outside is offering us its breath, its oxygen. It includes appreciation. It includes quietness of one breath, soft, gentle breathing. All of that is known. Can we give importance to the knowing? Just let the connection between awareness and the flow of breath quietening us. Giving us a sense of inner space. And if there are thoughts, and I'm sure there will be, or there are, we can allow them. They arise by themselves and pass by, telling their stories as they pass. And we get a sense that they are coming from the awareness. The awareness, our mind, our awareness is constantly there, is the ground, and gives birth to a thought that comes and goes. And our thought is also made of the same awareness. The thought may be about the past or the future. It doesn't matter. It's telling a story, but the awareness is the source, is the ground, is like the underground water. And we see the water coming out of the taps and the streams. The underground water is like our awareness. Just feel it right now. There's awareness, there's presence. I'm conscious, I know what's going on. And thought is coming out of it. It's just the playfulness, the music of image appearing, going, coming, going. And coming back to the body. One place that helps us to experience awareness as it is, to experience non-dual awareness, awareness that doesn't have two sides, subject, object, or as less, is a place of no effort. It's more like surrender. Dropping the need for us to know the subject and an object. Surrender. So we can try explore this right now with something very simple. We're sitting on a cushion, chair, whatever. And there is weight and pressure. That's our experience. We're being pulled down by the earth. That's our experience. Now, what happens when we surrender to that? We let the earth pull us. We let gravity work through us instead of resisting. We align ourselves with gravity. Let gravity take us. Let the earth take us. And how is that? What happens then? Maybe we get something back. We learn something. We feel something. The earth gives us its energy back by if we don't resist the pull of the earth. And I want to explore this a bit further, take it one more step to explore the spaciousness which is beyond the ordinary mind. The ordinary mind has boundaries. This is in, this is out, this is the limit of my body. This is inside, this is outside. Because already we are connecting with the earth, which is beyond that mind, we are connecting to the earth. The earth is beyond us and we are with it. Let's do it now above us, in front of us, behind us, to the sides. Feeling we are sitting in a big space. Indeed, the earth is below, but the sky above. And feel that we are stretching out beyond the skin, beyond the usual boundaries, the habit of me and the world. We're out. Stretching out in front, behind, to the sides, above. Our awareness is stretching out. No more boundaries. Spaciousness. Space outside, space inside. No interruption, no boundary. Whichever way we get a hint of it, we get a touch of it. Even imagination is fine. Sense of spaciousness, limitlessness. Our awareness is moving out. And then we can come back to the body, come back to the limits, knowing the boundary of the body again, knowing the difference. And we'll just take 2 or 3 minutes of quiet, just to be in the body, the practice that you already know. Okay, and let's take a deep breath and let it out, and slowly, slowly we can open the eyes. So thank you, everybody. I've taken you on a bit of a circus journey, exploring different things, but I thought to use the meditation to kind of explore a little bit welcoming the beyond. What's the beyond? So I've tried it in various ways in the meditation practice. So, and it was playful. So whatever you experienced is fine. Anyway, I'm happy to have questions or responses on more or less anything. Actually, it really nothing. There's no. You can talk. You can ask about the theme. You can ask about anything I've said. You can ask about your own practice, and anything you feel like. It's really fine. So do raise your hand. Hi, Rana. Good. Good. You're the first one.
I just wanted to allow my curiosity to take over, which is very simple. I mean, I don't know why it came to my mind, but I saw two of your finger. You had accident or what? My question is how that happened to you?
I just had a burn. Yeah, I didn't realize it was showing. It was just a burn. One of my grandchildren accidentally didn't close the kettle properly, and so I got burnt with the boiling water on two fingers. So thank you for asking.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean any disrespect, but
It's not at all. It's an honest curiosity. Curiosity is wonderful. It's
yeah.
one of the best qualities.
And my real question is, what is mandala?
Mandala is a Mahayana image, if you like, a picture that it's traditional and it's been going for hundreds of years. I'm not the expert, I have to say, but it's really all the directions. A mandala is like a great house or a home of where we are in our existence. So it has the directions, it has the doorways, it has the center, it has the outside, and it's really a kind of our totally home in this world represented as a picture. With its entrances, its sides, its north, east, south, west, and so on. And it kind of represents our total presence in this world.
Thank you.
Yes, Dawn. Hi.
Hello. That was beautiful, the way you described the mandala. I never had heard it described that way. Yes, the meditation was absolutely fabulous. I really enjoyed that. And I found it fascinating that I was really, really able to just let myself go so deep within that my pain just completely disappeared. And it was just such a joy. It was wonderful. And then I got so expansive. I was just like, ooh, I was so big. I was out like in the universe and the stars and everything. And then as soon as you said to come back in our body, you know, I could feel the outline in the body, and then boop, the pain was back. So I just found that so fascinating. I'm like, wow, because I spoke with a friend earlier today. They're like, oh, wouldn't it be wonderful to have just a few moments of painlessness? And I'm like, oh yeah, that would be great. So thank you for that. That was really a joy.
Great. So I have a very large number of guided meditations on my website. Some of them certainly going much deeper than we have done into boundarylessness and so on. So they're all there on the website and also on Spotify. If you look up my channel on Spotify, you'll see there's lots of meditations there as well. So you're really welcome to look up meditations and talks, and there's plenty. So you can have actually much longer ones as well.
Oh, excellent. Thank you so much. And oh, yes, God bless your family and everybody over there. Lots of prayers going out. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you.
Dawn and Stephen, I just put your website into the chat for folks, as well as a lot of your teachings you've done with us at Sangha Live. So that's there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, Jane.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I do. Hi.
Hi. I just want you to know that when I saw that you were giving this session today, my heart soared. And I am so grateful because my heart has been in a lot of pain for all of us that are affected and impacted, and hopefully all of us are, by what's happening in Israel and what's happening around the world. So I'm just wanting to say I'm so grateful. What you provided today was exactly what I needed, and it was really beautiful. You touched my heart very deeply. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jane. Thank you. Beautiful.
I don't have a question for you, but I just want to know how you're doing in Israel. And I know you're not there right now. You said you were in Lebanon. Is that correct? Did I have that correct?
No, I'm in Israel.
You're in Israel. So
Yeah,
how are you holding
near
up?
the Lebanese border, but we're okay. And I pay attention to all the various warnings from the civil defense and so on. So far, it's really been all right. And I haven't had to go down. There's a safe room somewhere, a shelter, but we haven't had to use it. And I'm really fine. And I go out in the morning and grow my vegetable garden, and also because most of the families with young children have left this place. So it kind of comes on my shoulders to go running around the houses feeding the animals. So my morning is I feed dogs and cats here and there. But my wife and I are really fine. And we're at the present time not going anywhere. We're staying just where we are.
Animals love you and love you back. And I'm grateful. Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah, thank you, Kami. You're on mute.
I think you used to come to Bodh Gaya with Christopher Titmuss, didn't you, years ago?
I didn't come to Bodh Gaya, but I used to come with Christopher to Sarnath.
Oh, I mean Sarnath, yeah. Well,
Yes.
I did for years. And this is strange because this is not a question either. I never watch the Sunday when it's actually happening because I'm doing something else. And it just happened I was at home and I seem to remember that you live in Israel. And I've got lots of friends there, Dharma friends, you know, Zohar and Nathan and other people. And I thought, I've got to listen. But I had a great difficulty getting in because they didn't recognize me and I had to fill in all, sorry, I'm wasting time. But I just want to say this is not an accident because you did wonders. The meditation where I'm full of crisis at the moment, not only world, but my own. And when you did the expanded one, I felt like light. And I didn't want to come back to that body and the goings on because it's so painful at the moment. So I think this is just a very wordy way of saying tremendous thankfulness to you. And I can't get over the fact that I hooked in today. Thank you.
It was some way meant to be, or it was the right thing that happened. And yes, all we can say in those moments is thank you. Thank you to the wheels of karma that are turning.
Magic.
Yeah, yeah.
My kind of magic. Thanks.
Yeah, Marita, you have a question or you have a comment or you want to share something?
Hello.
Hi.
I have a question. Since concerning the conflict Israel-Gaza, and
Yeah.
I'm trying to go into discussions or make comments to try to avoid all the terminology and all these polarized opinions. And I wonder if you have any good advice what to actually say.
Yeah, it's not easy.
I know.
The first thing is to understand it's not easy. That means to allow it not to be easy, not to think that you have to have an answer. I still find it not easy when, like I said, this woman in the local town said, we have to destroy Gaza. And I still find it not easy to find the right thing that fits the situation. So you need to be creative. I think you need as your basis a deep sense of remembering and feeling the equality, the compassionate heart that says we are in this together. So the person you're talking to is suffering, you are suffering, the people of Gaza and the people of Israel is suffering even more right now in much greater, but we're all in it together. And I think to remember these kind of understandings, and then to keep asking, with this view that you have when you're talking to somebody, polarized view, with this view, what will be the fruit? If we keep going with this view, what will be the fruit? Where do you want it to go? What do you see happening? How do we end this cycle of violence? And mostly people will say, I don't know, just have to wipe them out. But you can still, but even asking that question is enough to kind of raise, and even the sense that you are somebody that thinks differently, and you can say that, well, I have another view, and I just want you to know that. And even with you, don't persuade them of anything. That also is in a way a statement. We can have other views. There are other views of this. And so between all of these things and a kind of real sense of being at home in the big picture, and then your feet are on the ground, and when you answer somebody, you'll feel steady and like the Buddha said, an island. So you kind of really confirming and read stuff and think about it to really confirm the bigger picture. And in the case of the war in Gaza right now, I have to say that it's the fourth time. I have written an article which is in Tricycle, and before that in my book, and I keep revising, I keep the same article, just changing the date 4 times. The same article. In other words, nothing has changed. There's no benefit. Nothing has moved, and so clearly it hasn't worked. This sense of just, I'll get them back, hasn't worked. So you can ask people, so what will stop this? What will take us beyond that? Is your view going to help? So here are some of the points I think that can help. But underneath, you have to be creative and respond to every situation a bit differently, and look the person in the eyes and say, I listen to you, but let me give another view. It's possible that there are other views too.
Okay. Yeah, that's very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add, my aunt, she was working in the United Nations all her life, or ever since 1948.
Whoa.
So the peacekeeping mind has been, I've been marinated in it, So peace and protect the children, that's what comes to my mind.
Yes.
Immediately.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So stay with that, and from there, your responses will come out from that place of confidence.
Thank you very much. Stay safe.
Thank you. We'll have Natasha, and then maybe Marnie, if there's any questions in the chat that need to be read, maybe you could read 1 or 2 from the chat, and if there's some good questions there, we can I can also respond to them. But anyway, Natasha, yeah.
Hello, hi Stephen.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here today. And I'm, like many others, really appreciated the meditation. I really appreciated in the teaching how you talked about the image of the child that is looking behind what is going on, and that having that mind of curiosity and investigation. And I love this because one of my favorite teachings are the factors of awakening. And I think it's the 3rd factor, which is the Dhammavichara, that investigation, that curiosity. I like to think of it as curiosity, just opening the mind to like, what's happening? What is going on here? Where I am able to like just let go of knowing what is happening, but having an investigation. And I wondered if we could like ground that back into like how we encounter suffering and violence in the world, and also coming from a background of training in nonviolence communication. That's one of the primary like intentions when in encountering someone who may have different views than we do. It's like, what is their view, and how can I actually deeply understand? Would you be able to speak any more on that? And you were talking to Marita about that a little bit, like would you talk a little bit more about curiosity with encountering violence and suffering in the world?
Well, I think one more place of curiosity is to really understand where the other person is coming from, and to go into their shoes. Shantideva said that, going into someone else's shoes is a sacred act. And I've been doing a lot of peace work in the Middle East with Palestinians, Israelis, etc. And again, the Palestinians are saying, and Israelis are saying, if you go into each other's shoes and listen to each other, then peace is made, actually. So the curiosity really needs to be constantly interested in where the other person is coming from, what is their life like, how they develop their views, what is their experience. And sometimes the experience has a lot of pain in it, and then it triggers compassion, and the compassion invites the other. It sometimes needs a sense of, when you're interested in the other, a sense that you're giving also safety to the other, that your interest is not in any way threatening, that you're kind of holding the other with, then maybe curiosity or an investigation wouldn't be quite the right word. It would be more like empathy. But it was the same direction, but looking a little bit, trying to look behind the eyes of the other person would be investigation as well. And you know, when dealing with trauma and dealing with life pain that people feel, there is a community aspect. There is something which is beyond the individual and something which sweeps through the community, almost like karma, waves of karma. And for example, the sense of being a victim. And the victim mind is a very kind of damaging, powerful, and in the Middle East, it's been 100 years on both sides. And when you're talking about investigation, it needs to, you can take something like the victim mind and begin to explore it, and kind of with sympathy, kind of listen to it and almost question it and see where it goes, and what, with sympathy and with dialogue, where is it coming from? How is it expressed? What are we doing with it? Where can we transform it? What can be softening it? And this needs dialogue and listening and empathy and compassion. So I think they all work together with the investigation.
Thank you so much, Stephen. I really appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah, Marnie, we have still a couple of minutes. If there's maybe one or two questions we can express. We're running out of time, but if there's anything in the chat you would like to quickly express.
Yes, there are two, if we can. Arpita Brown wrote, "We are in this together. Sometimes, though, these words will sense to inflame rather than open the heart of the person to whom we are speaking. What is there to do? It's so complicated, and yet to many, it's so black and white." I think that was a comment more than a question, but maybe there's a question there that you wish to speak on.
Yes, there is. It's like Noah's Ark. The world is flooding, and we're trying to survive in the ark. And when you find polarized views and opinions, they're based on fear and insecurity. And so very often the sense of I'm together with you, for example, in deep listening, and here I'm going back again to kind of, for example, the workshops we're doing with Palestinians and Israelis, starting off very polarized, but the sense that there's bigger, the whole picture is bigger than both of us. And so at that place, we can feel we're in it together. And so I think you can often appeal to something to say, yes, we don't think the same, but we're all affected by something that's bigger than all of us, and therefore we have to stand together with that. We are a community, even though we think differently. And I think that message has to go out there without trying to persuade anybody to change their views. So that sense, we're in the ark, we're in Noah's ark, in a much bigger flood. The whole planet is burning right now. And so, that message of we're in the ark, we're in the boat, we're all in the same boat, one way or another.
Thank you, Stephen. There's one more if you have time. I know we're
Yes,
after.
sure.
Okay. Josephine says, I'm curious how to sustain courage and commitment. I understand violence hasn't worked, yet it discourages me when I see that love and peace hasn't seemed to have worked either. Main question is how to maintain the practice.
I don't think we have a choice, actually. And I think that, imagine I say to Josephine or anyone else, okay, the love and peace hasn't worked, so go and get your M16 gun and go out. Go. We don't have a choice, and so we can allow the voice of goodness to be there. It's the voice, if you like. Now, nirvana and samsara have both been there from the beginning of time. And we can allow the voice of goodness to see it as a thoroughly deep, primal, ancient power in us that is always there. Every child is grown up and able to suck the milk at the breast of the mother and sense of a moment of perfection and goodness and togetherness with the baby and the mother. We are all born with so much trust and love. So it's kind of remembering that that's very primal. And the violence is also primal. But we choose a primal place and we trust it. And that's our life. And I think that if we understand that it's very basic, this love is not just something we have to kind of find in order to fix the difficulties and the conflict, but that it's a real primal power in all of us, to this togetherness, this sense of goodness we all have, this sense of deep longing is in every human being. So that can really help to sustain us and give us courage. Okay, so I want to finish at this point, and one word about dana. I love living according to dana, because dana is not just one way, it's always. Dana is giving and receiving, and that's the beauty of it as a parami, as one of the parami. It's both directions. So I really think it's a beautiful. If you ever ask, how do we live in this world? Dana is one answer. How we live in this world with the insight and with the practice. What do I do when I get up in the morning? And the answer is dana. I was given this life as dana. My life is dana. I was given it. I was given a body. And we give our life to others. And dana is happening all the time, and we receive constantly from others. So dana is a truth. And I just like to remind everybody about that. And personally, I also be very happy if you, connect with my website and my teaching and so on. And I'm actually thinking of maybe doing some sort of virtual tour at the moment, in the States. Of centers. I've been a few times, and at this time, maybe Zoom talks in different places. So if anyone wants to help organize that or put that together, that would be also Dana. And at that point, let's just share a moment of heartful, compassionate sense of being together in this mysterious and often difficult world. And we are in the same boat. And we can feel that. And we can feel that as in a compassionate way. And just let it touch our heart. And with that, we go out into our lives. So thank you.
Thank you, Stephen. What we'll do now is allow folks to come and just say goodbye to each other as a Sangha. And then I've dropped some things in the chat, so I will stay on for 2 or 3 more minutes and allow people to grab what they wish out of the chat. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you.
Thank
There's a lot-
you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so
Actually,
much.
you
It's
look
been
like
wonderful.
you could be Christopher's brother.
Thank you.
Thank you.
so much. This was beautiful. Magical.
Thank you.
Well
Be safe,
said,
everyone. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Be well.
Bye-bye.
Very good.
Much love. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, Stephen. Thank you,
Stay
everyone.
safe.
Shalom.
and
aloha.
תודה.
Thank you.
תודה רבה.
תודה.
Thank you again, Stephen. Really helped me today. Much appreciated. Namaste and metta to you.
Great.